Hello and welcome again to Family Times. This is the place to be. This is Hope Channel Kenya, and in Family Times we give hope to people who seem to be losing it. Now, do you remember what they say that in a family, for a family to be successful, they have to be children. But the question is, what if they don't come? Or what if they come late? Now that forms the basis of our discussion today, and we are glad to have our sister Teresa Ondara. Please just say hi to our viewer.
Hi viewers.
Thank you so much. And we also have this couple that we love so much, Richard and Tabitha Uma. Say hi.
Hi.
Welcome, viewer.
And of course, as always, next to me is my wife, Linda, aka Dush. Say hi.
Hi viewer.
Now, we have said it all, but just like they say, children are a source of happiness. And the Bible talks about it in Psalms 127 that children are the gift of the womb. Richard.
Yes.
Children are a gift of the womb. And digest that for us.
Yes. They are a gift. One, because God gives us children. Indeed, it's a blessing when God gives us children in our marriages. And, you know, many times when this delays, we become very worried. We sort of like think things must be hastened. That's a product of our efforts in what we call marriage. But indeed, there are fruit.
I pick a very important word in your statement, they delay.
Yes.
You have this hope that they will come.
Exactly.
Let me come back to our guest, Teresa. Please just tell us about yourself, your marriage life, your social life. Just tell us about yourself so that our viewer can understand exactly what we are talking about today.
Yeah.
Okay. As Deva said, my name is Teresa Ondara Dash Omare. I'm married to one man, and God has blessed us with 2 children, 2 girls.
Yes.
And we've been married for the last 14 years.
Wow.
Yes, 14 years. We got married in 2005, September 4th. Yeah, and we stayed in marriage for 7 years until the babies came.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
7 years.
Yes.
7 good years.
Before the children came.
Yes.
Richard, we understand, Tabitha and Linda, you know, this lies majorly on the two of you as the ladies in the house. I don't know your experiences. Do you have any experiences of delay or children coming in late?
Yeah, actually I have my very close family that up to now they still do not have a child, and they have been married for over 10 years.
Wow.
While I also have another family that waited for over 15 years, and you know, 2 years ago God blessed them with a child.
They've my aunties from my dad's side. There were 3, they're all dead now. And only one of them ever got a child. The other 2 didn't bear any child. And because of that, they had problems with marriages. They moved from one to the other, and to the other, and to the other. It's very unsettling. It's very unsettling when a family doesn't have children. It creates a lot of issues around the family and even away from the family.
Linda?
Yeah, I also have a dear friend who got married and around 2006 and up to now, they don't have any child. She always calls me and tells me it's so much frustrating from family members, from immediate friends, at times even from the church.
You know, I thought Linda would say this, that, you know, we were, of course, we got married and just before we were not expecting a child, and we were already expecting a child. You know, in some cases, people are not expecting a child, but the child comes. But others are expecting a child and the child doesn't come. Terry, you have talked about 7 years, and I want to give it a new term, 7-year tribulation period. Tell us about it, because we briefly talked about it before we came here. Would you kindly just Tell us about it.
Okay, as I said, we got married in 2005. Because the first year, there's nothing much. You're trying to settle, trying to know each other. But now when the 1 year ended, the second year I was a bit worried. But I'm a nurse by profession, so I understand. So 1 year ended, second year, I'm like, hey, what's happening? But I remember one thing, I used to have painful periods. When they come, they could put me down. I have to go and see a doctor, I have to be on medication. So the second year, I went and saw a doctor. She told me, let's do a scan where you're having such pains and maybe why the babies are not coming. And number one, of course, they ask you, do you stay with your husband? Because in fertility, they look at how, if you're staying with your spouse. And because if you stay apart, they can't count 1 year, they can't count. So I like, do you stay with your spouse? Yes. Do you meet regularly? I told them yes. And, but the problem I had is that pain. So they told me, let's go and do a scan. So I went and did a scan, and she told me, you know what, you have fibroids. I was scared. By that time, I was 25 years. I was fibroids. Yes, and then she told me they are big. The only option you have is maybe to remove them. I told them no. I went into denial. I cried. Fibroids at 25, because I know the consequence of having fibroids. You may lose your uterus, you may never give birth. I'm like, really? Fibroids at my age? I know it comes after 30 years plus, but at my age, I went into denial. So I began moving from doctor to doctor, doing the same scans, confirming. I cried, and then when I accepted, so like, now what next? You have fibroids.
At that point, when this is happening,
Yes.
What was the reaction of your husband, your mother, your mother-in-law, everyone around you in your family? How were they reacting to all this?
I think at that time when I was diagnosed with fibroids, it was early. It was early, so there was no much reaction. But of course, I told them I'm on medication. So I went through a series of medication to try and reduce the fibroids, because there are some medications that are given to try and shrink them so they don't grow. So I was given medication, put on medication, but still, they never shrank. The pain was still there, nothing changed. So then from there, I was told to go and take some herbs, those traditional herbs. I tried all those, but the fibroids never went, the pain never went. And at that time, my husband was very supportive, very supportive. I remember he one day removed 50K to go and try and source those tablets, so at least I can get well and also conceive. But again, despite all that, nothing happened. So when we despaired, nothing is coming. I think in 2007, I went and saw a doctor who told me that the only option we have is to remove the fibroids. Before then, I tried to use some fertility drugs to see if I can conceive, but nothing was coming. So they said, because we've done everything, let's try and remove the fibroids. We see if they're the ones that are causing the problem.
Okay.
So I went in for surgery.
Now, we are coming back to these fibroids. Maybe you will tell us exactly, on a layman's language. You don't have to go into the medical terms now that you're a nurse. But on a layman's language, you'll tell us about fibroids. I want us to look at what the Bible, the examples in the Bible, because, Richard, we have examples. We have Sarah, we have Anna. We also have Jacob, Rachel, Leah. Yes. How long, I mean, you can tell us about Sarah, and why would God direct us to the Bible, these stories? Because I know these stories are not just for granted.
I think that God wants us to learn from these stories. I think the biggest message that I would draw from this is that God's time is the best time, because He has a plan for everyone. And when the time comes, God would bless us with the children, as many as it's His will. And it's never too late, by the way, because when I read the story of Sarah in the Bible, the age at which she conceived was quite advanced. It's quite advanced. Today, probably we worry a lot about age, and even when we think we are very well developed scientifically, but we still look at age and wonder, if I'm 30 and 40 and all that kind of age, would I be able to conceive? But more than anything, I think it's the environment where we live that gives us a lot of that pressure, because sometimes it makes us worry, impatient, and we begin to lose the sight of God in everything.
And again, before, let me just add something. at the end of the day, when we are facing such kind of challenges, it's at the end for the glory of God. Yeah.
You know, it's really easy to talk. I mean, let's just be real. When somebody's going through that, if your spouse is really supportive, it really, really helps. If your in-laws are really, really supportive, it really helps. But you realize that when somebody is going through that, sincerely, when somebody has not had a baby for 14 years, and then you come and tell them that God's time is the best,
It's not easy.
it does not even really make sense. And you know, when for me, I understand that a gift, for instance, if I want to gift you something, Dave, you don't dictate. You don't dictate to me like, you know what, Tabitha? Of course, like it depends. If it's family, I'll say, hey, my birthday, I want this. But for God, He knows what is best for us. You know? So it is easier for me, for instance, if Terry went through that for 7 years, and probably you made a statement when you're starting, you said, there are people who are expecting a baby and the people who
don't expect and they get.
They don't expect and they get. So if I want to talk to Terry about that, it is something that, I don't know, I don't know what to say, but it's something that we really have to really be sensitive about. Sensitive, because when I'm not going through a situation, it's easy to encourage somebody, oh, it's all right, Teresa, God will make it, you'll get it. But let's also ask God for wisdom, and for that person who is going through that.
Now, coming back to Terry, I said that you need to maybe explain to us briefly about what fibroids are, and how this affected you and your husband, and the family, the nuclear family, and even the extended family. Because I believe that when people get married, there are relatives who are sent, They are not just sent to come and visit, they are sent to come and spy, and just check around what's happening. As she said, using her words, Ishiba Lumi, fibroids.
Okay, fibroids in a layman's terms, they are growths, in a layman's term, growths that usually happen in the woman's uterus. Usually, they say that all women have fibroids, but they are so small you can't notice them. But in some women, due to hormonal imbalances, they grow. So when they grow, those small masses, some can be big, some can be small. So those small masses are the ones we call fibroids. Yeah, they can interfere with the fertility, whereby depending with the location and the size of the fibroid.
No, thank you for that. Now, I want to ask you, maybe this is quite a direct question. Are there relatives who called you during this time asking you what's going on? Of course, positively and negatively.
Yeah, of course. Begin with my immediate parents, because they were concerned. I told them what the doctor told me, I have fibroids, and they are trying, I'm on medication, but I'm not seeing any change. So the time they told me maybe we try and
do herbal.
Yeah, go herbal. I went herbal. Herbal, I did herbal almost 2 years, but it didn't work. It was very expensive, very torturing. Every parent, I think they were very supportive. Everybody wants to support you. You finish this one, somebody wants to give you another one. Somebody wants to give you, try this, try this. Everybody was concerned.
Everyone made you a lab to test their hypothesis.
But it didn't work.
Now, okay, thank you for that. Now, we understand that we are living in a world that is just advancing in technology. Were there any scientific interventions that you thought about? Like I know there is IVF. Were there any scientific technology or maybe test that you had to go through?
Of course, being a medical person, I had to exploit everything. Of course, the first one you start taking those fertility drugs, you take them, I took, didn't work. After those drugs, now you want to do the test to find out, are you okay? There's what we call, they try to check the tubes, if the tubes are patent. Because if they are not patent, you cannot conceive. So I did those tests, a very painful procedure. They test the tubes, and they told me they're okay. The second time, they told me one is blocked, one is okay. That means if I have to consider, the chances are very minimal, because there's only one tube that is patent. Then from there, they want to test your husband, want to confirm if it's okay also, because sometimes we tend to put blame on women. You also
That happens a lot. That
sent to
happens a
that
lot.
test. Of course, it's traumatizing for men because of the ego of a man and our culture.
If you imagine a man being told,
You're the one.
you're not able to.
Yeah, because the doctor said it may be, but we have to confirm also, because also there's a thing they check in men, the quality of sperm, the sperm count, all those things. You have to go through that. It was very traumatizing, but we went for it, and we were told all is well from his side. So we said maybe it's fibroids, so you have to face it and remove them and see.
So are you coming out of this denial, or you're still
Stuck in
because you refused?
The
earlier
first thing,
that
but
I'm
if
not
you
going to-
deny, there's nothing
I
that you
refused,
can
but now
do.
because when I wanted to go and try to do it the local way. When it failed, now I was like, let me go the medical way. I did those tests, I did scans, so many scans, and I remember I even went and saw a doctor, a fertility doctor, those who do IVF, intrauterine fertilization. And they told me, with your fibroids, we can't even try it. Just go have them removed, then you can come, we try. I'm like, oh, so it's an expensive thing. It's not just easy.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
Okay, now maybe let's tell us about the lowest moment in all this, your very lowest moment, and who supported you and how.
Okay, my lowest moment is after finally I agreed to go for the surgery. We remove the fibroids. So I was like, oh wow, finally I'm going to conceive. After removing the fibroids, again, no baby came. Another year, many years of waiting after removing the fibroids. So my lowest, because at that time I was like, no, after the fibroids, something will happen.
Something
So
must
at that
Because
point,
all the doctors
Yes.
will just point back.
yeah,
to
because
the
we've done everything. Now let's do this. Once we do this, I'm sure we'll conceive. So when I've just done like this, immediately my father-in-law falls sick. He comes to my house in Nairobi. And then he's diagnosed with kidney failure. So I have to take care of him. I'm like, God, I've been praying for you to give me a baby, and I've gone for this. So when I've just recovered, the next thing you give me, my father-in-law. So is it the baby I was asking for?
Sure.
I said, God, please, if this what it means to answer prayers, then give me grace. Because I was asking for a baby, you give me a sick father-in-law. If this the baby you are to give me grace to take care of him, the way I could have taken care of my own baby.
It needed grace.
Yes.
Yeah, it needed.
So that's why it was so low, like, okay. It was so, but I think I trusted God so much, and I prayed a lot, and God gave me grace. So I stayed with my father-in-law for some time, until the time he passed on in my hands.
No, sorry.
Sorry.
I wanted to ask about believing in God, but you have just mentioned it, saying that you prayed a lot,
God give her grace.
that God would give you grace.
Indeed, it's hard.
I thought you'd say, I pray that God would give me a child, because that is basically what you want. But you prayed
She
for
was
grace.
not selfish. She just trusted God and asked God, if this is your will, maybe give me the grace to give my energy to this other side.
Most of the times when we pray,
On that grace, we are taking a short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Just before we went for the break, we were talking about grace. And Tabby, you were burning with grace.
yeah, we actually have to know what this grace means. It's the undeserved mercies. You know, it is something that you really don't deserve. So at times you can be praying for something, really, you're praying for this, and then God gives you a situation that you really need to practice what you asked for. So we have to be really careful what we tell God. It's not bad to pray, but we pray and then we get situations that we have to practice, even if it's patience, you know. So pretty much that's what God wanted you to.
Go through
Yeah.
and experience.
I look at, listen to Terry's a story, and I go back to the Bible,
Right.
and I want to think about the story of Sarah.
You stole
You
my
know-
mind again.
Yes. At a certain point, she was very impatient,
Yeah.
and therefore she gave Abraham what she thought would bear. Someone would bear a child for her.
A human solution.
A human
to a godly
solution to
promise.
God's plan. And you know, when you say you brought your father-in-law and he was there, and you must have felt like, oh, and brought an adult child who now comes before me.
Yes.
Take care of
Sick.
And my fibroids are now gone. I'm ready to conceive, have a child, and then suddenly it's your father-in-law who comes. And I can imagine all sorts of things. But, you know, that probably was what was going to prepare you for the child.
Yeah.
Nursing an old person and looking after him in sickness, that brings him to the level of a child. You know, probably God, you know, God has a sense of humor.
He does.
And so he's bringing you into a situation now, after giving you the success in your surgery, to prepare you now for the child. How do you think about that?
That is very wise, Richard. I would have looked at it in a different way on the story of Sarah and Hagar.
Yes.
Sarah gives a solution
Yes.
that she thinks would get to the promise,
Yes.
but God had already given them before.
Yeah.
But her prayer is still challenging to me, because you are praying for a child,
God.
and now
Yes.
you have ceased praying for a child.
Yes.
You are now praying for grace.
grace to handle.
We have prayed for something, and we ceased praying for that something. We started praying for patience.
Patience.
Would you want to talk about patience?
Yeah, by the way, I think at times God maybe brings something so that he can open your mind, so that maybe you can focus on something. Like, for example, we might be crying maybe for getting a baby, and God wants to teach you how to be patient. So he gives you something else. So at the end of the day, I think we need not to complain
Yeah.
what we go through. We need to ask God, like just the same way Teresa has done it. Ask God to give you that grace. It's so hard, by the way. It's not easy.
And that patience.
And that patience, so that God
patience is-
gives you the grace, so that you can be able to
Patience.
pull through. And
Yes.
at the end of the day, ask God, what do you want me to learn from this experience? Really, God, what do you want me to learn? Show me.
You know, someone said that patience, when you are actually exercising patience, is
Yeah.
when you don't need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're in a hurry,
Yes.
or when you are in a hurry to get something.
Yes.
That is when now you can actually say,
Exercise.
I am patiently waiting.
Yeah.
But now, Terry, we want to talk about the challenges, but you have mentioned them earlier on, but now we just want to get into maybe a deeper understanding of these challenges. Let's start with the financial challenges. You know, the test that you went through, and you mentioned the finances that come with these tests, and the support that you get from your family. Please share with that about these challenges.
Okay, as I'm sure all of you know, it's very expensive to test fertility. Very expensive from the tests, all those, they're expensive. And for those of us who have insurance, who have insurance, car insurance does not pay for such infertility test. So you have to stand on your own.
Okay.
So it was expensive, you have to do it, pay. It's like all our salary. We're exhausted, we're just like, that was our baby. They're just doing all those tests. It was very challenging, but thank God all of us were working, so we could support each other. And my husband was very supportive. And also, what sort of challenged me is the fact that my father-in-law was staying with me. I thank God for him. When I look back, and when he was staying with me, I used to thank God for him, because like, if this what gave me, God has a reason. God is so wise. You can never question God. So I said, God, if that's how you answer prayers, then that's why I was so confident that he has a reason. So I took care of my father-in-law like my own baby. And I remember my father-in-law could pray, he used to pray a lot for us. Could say, God, please give these children a child. Please, or if it pleases, give these children a child. He used to pray for us. But of course, there used to be challenges. People are talking. You know, she was a nurse. Maybe she used to work in the hospital. She has done so many things. Maybe she alikuwa anatumia madawa. And me, in my mind, I know I've never used any family planning. I don't know even how it feels. So when people are talking, I'm like, okay, you just talk, but you don't know what I'm the only one who knows myself. Even my husband may not know me, may think maybe I cheated him. And more so when you do a wedding, a church wedding, people tend to think maybe you are hiding in the name of a wedding when you know what you did. So people could talk, hey, watu wa maharusi wanafanya harusi. They're trying to cover something maybe they knew they did. But inside me, I knew I had never done anything. I would just say, God, you know me. Let people talk what they can talk. Of course, you cannot prevent them from talking.
No, you can't.
Let them talk. I remember one day my mother-in-law told me, my child, people are talking much about you, but we are praying for you. Just be strong. I told her, go and tell them, those people are talking about me. They are talking because they have children.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I told tell them, the God who gave them children is the same God who has not given me children. So please, instead of talking, let them pray for me.
Wow.
That's powerful.
I told her
Really?
that because like if they talk, they do not change anything.
Yeah.
I know myself. I don't know by me. I was the firstborn in my family, and I was a very straightforward in quotes girl.
Yes.
Even in college, people knew me. Teresa,
Nonsense.
no nonsense lady. I was just with my books, God books. So when I got married, there's that expectation.
exactly.
You know that me when I get married, all will go well. I've done the will of God. I've done a wedding. So I knew everything was to go the way I wanted. But the way God works, there's nothing you can earn to earn what God wants to give you. You may think.
Teresa, your case was unique.
I know.
Because I'm thinking in my mind at this moment that there are moments when we see colleagues, friends, relatives go to the pulpit for marriages and they wed. And after a short time, they have a child. You know, sometimes you wonder whether God is very quick on other people and very slow on others.
Yeah.
But that is the trend. And I can just imagine when you talk about people, as your mother-in-law spoke to you and told you, people talking.
I like the answer that you gave.
Yes, it's amazing. It's amazing that you are, your strength was in your belief, in your faith. You also mentioned your husband and the support he gave you. I think that was more of a shield, actually.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we men,
We
you
don't.
know,
Need to
we
get
are.
a husband who will.
And as we had
It's
mentioned
another.
earlier, he accepted to go through tests
Exactly.
and things like that. Many men
Financial
don't
help.
because
Yeah, men don't.
they're healthiest and the right people. They are the strongest and therefore they can claim it. And when it's not coming, then the blame goes back to the people.
You know, as she was mentioning about the mother telling her that, reporting
People are
to her that people are talking, it clicked my mind that, we often do it in our social gatherings. We do it.
All the time.
We
kill
tease
people.
them, we talk about it like it's so common.
Yes.
And we don't know, maybe someone is hurting.
going through a
I know
lot.
you shared with me about your friend who had to open up, I think to the point of breaking down, had to open up and just say, she said it in Swahili, nyinyi hamjui what we are going through. Tumejaribu sana.
Yeah, but it's true. They go through a lot.
And that's why I mentioned that it's so easy to talk about somebody's challenge.
Yeah.
If it's not you, like if you're not wearing the shoes, you really do not understand. But when you are going through something, like we had a situation in our house, I was telling Richard, you know what? Before we had this situation, it was so easy for us to talk about some other children. Or, so-and-so is not taking care of their child, or so-and-so, But when we had that challenge,
In your shoes.
we were like, oh, wow, so this is what they're going through. So it's easy when it's somebody else. You're like, oh, they're not doing this and that and that.
So what would be your direct advice?
You know what? If you do not know it, shut up and pray for them.
Yeah.
No, sincerely.
For you to pray
Change,
for
Yeah.
them so
change
that
the discussion.
You have to.
Yeah.
Change
You
the
have to.
discussion, Dave.
Yeah.
If you have spoken and talked about this person
Right.
in an ill manner,
Right.
trying to equate them with the effort to get and therefore getting successfully what they want and they can't do it because it's in somebody else's hands, why don't you change and pray for them instead?
Correct.
I like what
Just
she
try
said.
prayer.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
what she said, that instead of now you talking,
Yes.
you need to pray.
Pray for them.
With them.
Right.
Yeah,
for
because
them.
it's not guaranteed that you'll get a baby.
Right.
It is God who gives at the end of the day. It
Yes.
is God.
Pray for them.
And being there for somebody,
So yeah.
If I know Terry, who is my friend, is going through a situation, the best I can do is support and pray
Yeah.
for them. Because if I go and talk behind her back, if God has blessed me with a child, that is so insensitive.
Yeah, it's
Sincerely.
Terry, how did that impact you emotionally? And I believe you have friends both at your workplace and even in church. These guys are talking, and some of them are talking not knowing what you're going through. How did that impact you?
Okay, maybe I start from my workplace. My workplace, my colleagues were, some who knew my challenges were supportive, but I had a boss She could not understand. I think at that moment whereby I have a sick father-in-law, I'm also going through the same challenges. She was so harsh on me. Everybody knew she didn't like her. But one day she told me, I'll sack you any moment.
Wow.
I'm like, God, what have I done? I'm doing my work. So it was a very low moment for me. I'm like, I'm doing my best. I'm going through this. I'm doing my very best. She didn't understand. That one. Then from my family, I can say my family was supportive. They could call me all the time, we are praying for you, we wish you all the best. And my mom could tell me, kama iwezekani, you can even try and adopt a baby, because it's God gives you, then God does not, you can still adopt. So I had that option of adoption. And also from my church was very, very supportive. My church was very supportive, Ronkai Center in Nairobi. We had a women ministry group. They could go for keshas, we present our prayers, they pray. Somebody could call you at night and just text you, Teresa, I'm praying for you. Just know we are praying for you.
Are there people, your friends or family members that you could just avoid? You avoid their phone calls, you
Like a
avoid
plague.
meeting them. Because they are a
Just bring you
constant
down.
reminder that there is something.
No, my family, the only challenge I had, I used to fear going home. My marital home. And like, people just ask, they'll wonder what's happening. I used to fear going home. I could even stand for a whole year without going home. Because of that fear, I'm like, what am I going to do? But I thank God for my father-in-law's sickness. Because I think God knows how to cover things up. Because at that point now, when he came to my house, so the attention shifted to the sick father-in-law. So as much as they know, of course, I have a problem, but now if the patient is sick, he has to go for dialysis twice a week. You have to be on the run, buying medications, taking care of him. So the attention shifted. Yeah.
Now we also want to shift the attention a little bit and shift gears and now start talking about, in all this you had low moments, but I also believe you had a high moment.
Yes.
What kept you going?
Okay, what kept me going is, because when I was in church, I used to be a church worker, I used to be a church treasurer. That kept me going. Because I was so busy. Because when I come from work, I have a sick patient, I go to work, I'm busy. In the treasury, it can be so busy. Treasury, busy counting, receipting, banking that money. So I was so busy. So I didn't have time to think about my problems. And same time, my father-in-law, my husband used to work out. I'm left alone with him. So trying to coordinate all those three kept me busy. And then I had a friend. In addition to the women ministry and the church at large, I had a friend. Very particular. She knew my challenge. I could share with her everything that I was going through. She could call me anytime. In fact, I used to spend almost all my weekends in her house. I tell her, my friend, she's called Jackie. Jackie, I'm so low. Then my sister, come to my place. I'm busy, but I have time for you. I go, she welcomes me. In fact, we just enter her house like this. Hey, Teresa, hey, welcome. Let me tell you what I was reading. She opens maybe blessings from the mountains of blessings, to the Star of Ages. She did something so encouraging. Then please go and read. Have you read this book? I'm going to have notes. Go and read it. It's so encouraging. And from there, she goes and makes she's a good cook. She could cook her very best food. She gives me, we eat. I spend the whole day. So by the time I'm going home, I'm feeling very high. She stood there for me all this time.
Wonderful.
Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about this special person that you always look up to, you run to when there is a crisis somewhere, like her friend, Jackie, just a source of inspiration and a source of hope?
God is the one who puts someone in place. God will never leave you alone.
Amen.
He'll give you someone who will be able to lift you up.
Like God gave you me.
And Dave, it's also my prayer that I be that special person
touching
to
someone's
somebody.
life.
That is so. That is
Yeah,
very
most of the
important.
times we want somebody to be special.
Yeah.
But what positive influence or positive energy am I giving to Terry or to somebody else who is going through something?
Baby, we talk all the times about God and his mysterious ways of coming to our issues, our problems, and a lot of things that happen. Many times we don't understand. And God will give you someone. God will give you a fortress, somewhere where you can lean on at a time of need. When things don't seem to be working for you,
That's true.
God will provide. You know, people, even if there's no human being who could be there, God will provide a source of inspiration for you, just to keep you going until your prayer is answered. But as Tabitha has mentioned, it's important we also learn to be
to
that
be,
person
yeah.
who can be supportive to the other. That is key. That is key in a family, in any situation, in the church, in whatever social situation we are in. We need people we can rely on. Yeah.
Teresa, what would you encourage someone out there who is probably going through the same situation? What would you tell them?
Okay, I like to tell whoever is going through a similar situation that we serve a living God, and that God knows everything that happens, and that God who knew us before you were conceived knows what's good for you. So when He allows you to go through this, it's for His own glory. When I look back at what God put me to go through, I thank God that I had to go through that. Others, I could have not known what it means to be childless. I could have not known what it means for people to look at you and wait for that. And I thank God for the experience, and I encourage whoever is going through the same election that God is still there. He has not ceased to be God, the God of Sarah, the God of Anna, the God of Leah, Rachel, the God of Teresa is still there. He still answers prayers, and He'll also answer yours. You just need to be patient, trust in God, and try to look for something to keep yourself busy. Don't be idle, because when an idle mind is the devil's workshop. Keep yourself busy, work for God, find something to do, so that you don't you block your thoughts from whatever you're going through. It's good, it's positive, it worked for me.
Thank you so much for that wonderful testimony. I know someone out there has been blessed. What a wonderful way to just finish this, by the assurance that God will give us grace. All we need to do is be patient and wait upon Him. See you next time, and I have to say, God bless you.